What's guys, back in me is Hyuga, Beyblade Burst Surge, Episode 1, The Blading Revolution. Okay, so, so, this episode starts off with a welcome to the world of Beyblade scene, and then we get introduced to our new main characters, Hikaru and Hyuga, and Hikaru and Hyuga's mom is like, hey, you don't want to be late for your event, and Hikaru's like, oh, wait, Hyuga, you gotta wake up. But Hyuga is still asleep. So what does Hikaru do? Hikaru does what any person does, and he grabs Hyuga on his back and wakes Hyuga up. Yeah, so then after the intro, which is called We Got the Spin, I really like this intro. I know that the last one was called Rise, Beyblade Burst, or just Rise, but this one was really good. Conrad Money and Peters, or Johnny Fulgray, did a very good job on this intro. So, then we get the title card, and then we get back to where they're like, hey, we gotta get to the festival. So they go to the Rainbow Train Arena, where they meet up with their friends Rika, Guy, and Rika, Guy, and Chuck, and yeah. So then they introduce the three Bladers participating in this event: Volta Oi, Notaro Kiyama, who is voiced by Volta Oi is of course voiced by Camille Tran, who voiced him in Turbo and Rise. Rentaro gets a new voice actor called Kevin K. Gomez, and Silas is voiced by Mark Whitten, who voiced him in Beyblade Burst Turbo. So they show up. The announcer Hanami, I don't know what to say his name. I do a very impression of him though. Shows off their lightning base, Brave Valtrak, Glide Rock the War, and Curse 2, and they get ready. They do the lightning launches and get ready into the stadium. Glide Rock the War goes Glide Tornado. They all clash, and in one scene, there's kind of an error where instead of showing Brave Valtrak, it shows Sword Valtrak, but it immediately turns back into Brave, which I kind of thought that was a little weird. The season is not good. There might be little errors, but I'll mention them if there are. So they all clash. Volt goes Rush Launch, but then he goes Brave Sword, and we do not get to see the end of this match as it transitions to Hikaru saying how he wants to make his own lightning bay, and Chuck's like, whoa, bro, how do you know how you're gonna make a new lightning bay? So they go, and Hikaru and Hyuga, Hikaru's like, we see a shadow of his bay's avatar, and that gives Hikaru his premonition for his bay, and then Hyuga's just off sleeping, because when he gets work gets tired, but then he wakes up once you see the shadow silhouette of his bay, and then we get their bays, Colossal Helio and Super Hyperion. In the Japanese version, Super Hyperion is still the same, but they changed King to Colossal, which King Helios to Colossal Helio. So Rika is like, hey, Hikaru will be battling Guy, and Hyuga will be battling Chuck, and they don't pull off lightning launches, but they beat their friend. So then in the second part of the episode, which at the time making this video has not been released since it was called Bay of the Sun, Hyperion and Helio, I think it'll be changed to Solar Bay, Hyperion and Helio. So after the intro, after the title, the eye catcher, we get into the second part of the episode where we see Volt, Silas, and Rentaro working out. When Hikaru and Hyuga, Hikaru and Hyuga did talk to Volt, which I didn't mention, but Volt's like, I talked to him, and he's like, hey, it's you guys, and he's like, you talked to them? You know these guys? And he's like, I just talked to them. and he's like, who are you guys again? And he's like, Hikaru Hizashi and Hyuga Hizashi, and he's like, here's our bait, like Colossal Helio and Super Hyperion. And Rintaro touches them, and he's like, don't touch without permission. He's like, oh, sorry. He's like, my bad. He's like, what team are you guys from? And he's like, the Comets, or the Bombers in Japanese version. And they're like, you're part of the Comets? And he's like, do you know the Rintaro? And he's like, yeah. Yeah, it's never explained how he knows them, but, and then Rika, Guy, and Chuck come in, they're like, we're part of the Comets too. And they're like, we're the number one team. And then they just rush. So then Volt's like, hey, how about a battle? And they're like, and instead of doing 1, 2, 3 bombs like in the Japanese version, they would do like rock, paper, scissors. And Richard's like, how long can you guys do this for? And then, or something like that. And he was like, yay, I win. And now it's Brave Valtrak versus Super Hyperion. And then Hanami comes in, and he's like, it's Beyblade versus and then Rika's like, hey, his name is Hyuga Hisashi. His base is Super Hyperion of the Comet. And he's like, you heard him. And then Hyuga does not pull off a lightning launch, but Volt pulls off a lightning launch, and they basically go into the stadium and yeah, so they battle. Volt, Hyuga loses, but Hikaru's like, whoa, bro, I got this. And Hyuga goes 3, 2, 1, and Hikaru pulls off a lightning launch, and basically they show off his chassis, which they don't, they kind of explain, they kind of call Hyuga the Pineapple Head. So Hyuga Pineapple Head. So, but Hikaru goes and he goes, and Loco's brave sword, but he also, and ends up being them. So he's like, and then they're like, I want to go next. And he's like, hey, Hikaru, you'll go up against me. And Talos is like, hey, Hyuga, you'll go up against me. And then they're like, 3, 2, 1, let it rip. And that's the last we see of that until we transition to the beach where they're all exhausted after losing to the legendary players because they're noobs, and of course they would lose, and they're like, we're gonna break through our limits, ending the episode. Okay, so this episode was pretty good. It was the first good episode of Beyblade Surge. My Beyblade Rise reviews were very popular. I hope you guys like Surge. My Rise reviews were very popular. Yeah, a lot of people like them. Some of them got like big views, and I like that. So if you're gonna like Beyblade Surge, please like Beyblade Surge. My reviews will be awesome. Still be awesome. So anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next Beyblade Burst Surge.